1 Corinthians chapter 9 and verse 24, Paul is writing to a church, a group of believers that he has shepherded into the faith. And he said, do you not know? And when he asks that question, the answer is no, we've probably forgotten. Do you not know that in a race all the runners run, but only one gets the prize? Run in such a way as to get the prize. Everyone who competes in the games goes into strict training. They do it to get a crown that will not last, but we do it to get a crown that will last forever. That's speaking to motivation. What sacrifices will you make in order to achieve something that is temporary, that you can't hold permanently? As opposed to what kind of an investment would you make in something that you could never forfeit? Therefore, I do not run like a man running aimlessly. I do not fight like a man beating the air. Paul is reminding his audience that although they have begun their Christian journey, they should pursue it with the attitude that the final evaluation is still before them. Run in such a way as to get the prize. So my question to the current generation of Christ followers, I love to read my Bible. I like to reflect on Daniel and his courage, and Esther and her boldness, and Moses and his leadership, and I like the New Testament with Peter and his zeal, and I like the whole crew. But we're the 21st century edition. Are we running in such a way as to get the prize? Do we recognize the difference between what's temporary and what's permanent? Are we allowing our success to be defined by a culture that is temporal, that's passing away? Or is the evaluation of our life and our effort and our thoughts and our dreams and our aspirations, is it held up against the measure of God's eternity? I know we're in church and the answer is Jesus, but I mean really. I don't want your church answer. John 19, lest you think I'm overstating it, Jesus is on the cross, and when he received the drink, Jesus said, it's finished. And with that, he bowed his head and he gave up his spirit. He'd completed that first part of his assignment. It's done now, he said. There's nothing left they can do to me. They have tortured me to death. I will give up my spirit. Folks, one day our lives will come to an end. And I don't believe at that moment, at that crucial juncture of transition, that you want to point at your beginning. I think you want to point at your finish. Amen. I want to invite you to run as if you intend to get the prize. Amen. I'm grateful for your resume, and I'll be happy to discuss with you the circumstances of your new birth and your baptism and how you've begun that journey, but I'm very interested in how you're running the race this week. What are the expressions of your faith? What's the fruitfulness of your life today? Run in such a way as to get the prize. That is dynamic faith. The other is historical. It's theoretical. It's very easy to gather groups of Christians for theoretical discussions. We just released a book on angels and demons and you. If you haven't gotten a copy yet, I commend it to you. It's helpful. I've been doing interviews around it. And it seems like a topic people are a little reluctant in some respects. We'll talk about the miraculous or the supernatural in a theoretical way and say, why would you write a book about angels? Because there's hundreds of millions of them that have been sent as ministering spirits to help us. I have the imagination that I could not complete the assignment that God created me for and He's called me to unless there's angelic help. And considering the way I bumble around, I figure there's a whole contingent just to help me get out of the fine messes I find myself in. I want to understand more about it. I want to think about it more frequently. If you haven't read it, you can get there in the bookstore. And I don't get a commission. Let me help the skeptics. You'll just bless the church. Get a copy for a friend. We need to be aware of the spiritual dynamics of our lives. We need outcomes that reflect more than we can do. What's trending in your life? Is it spiritual change? Is it transformation? What are your goals and aspirations? Are you dialing back? Every season of life, I've had a few now, and every season of life comes with an opportunity you can scale back and provide for yourself excuses because it's a busy season and you've got little people in your life, or it's a resource-intensive season because you've got teenagers, or it's a self-centered season because you've retired and I want to do what I want to do. There's always a reason to push God to the periphery. They'll never go away. We have to decide that I'm going to run in this season against the norm, against the curve. I don't intend to be average. I want my life to reflect a commitment to the King of Kings and the Lord of Lords. I'll use my voice for a biblical worldview. I'll be an advocate in this season, in the circle of influence that this season brings to me. I was encouraged when our school board voted to begin, our county school board to begin their county meetings with prayer. What an idea. It's a very clear reflection of voices from people who live in this county. There's some anxiety around it. Well, somebody could challenge it. They very well could, but the people in this community can define community standards. That's a legal principle. Amen. What kind of world do we want to live in? Amen. A dynamic faith. Well, let me ask a follow-up question to that one. When is enough enough? It's a question for Christians. Do you keep raising the bar? I read my Bible last year. Do I have to read it again? People, I've heard that on many, Pastor, I've done that. I read it twice. Good, that's very good. I would cheer for you and applaud you, but we're not finished yet. And in the Christian community, we get a little addled on this. When is enough enough? It's a very important question. In Numbers 13, we're going to step into the midst of the former slaves of Egypt. Moses has led them. They're right on the brink of occupying the promised land. They send the spies into the land to see what it looks like. They've never been there before. They have a lot of experience in Egypt, but no experience with the fullness of God's promise. And the Lord said to Moses, you have it, it's Numbers 13:1. The Lord said to Moses, send some men to explore the land of Canaan, which I'm giving to the Israelites. From each ancestral tribe, send one of its leaders. And they gave Moses this account when they came back. They said, we went into the land to which you sent us, and it does flow with milk and honey, and here's its fruit. But the people who live there are powerful, and the cities are fortified, and they're very large. And it wasn't long ago that this particular group of people were slaves in Egypt. They had no resources to extricate themselves from bondage. They had no political power, they had no military might, they had no economic strength, they had no opportunity to extricate themselves. They've been slaves for hundreds of years. And God sends Moses, and all the drama around that, the plagues and the confrontation with pharaohs and make more bricks and you get less resources and the suffering and the complaining and they're finally released and the Red Sea and the parting of the Red. You know the drama, you know the story. This group of people, all of that is in their current experience portfolio. This isn't like generational. This is their story. They've still got clothing with mud on it from Egypt. And now they're standing on the opposite bank of the Jordan River and go, that's an amazing place over there. But it looks really difficult. There's big people over there. Now, Egypt was the most civilized, the most resourceful. They were the most sophisticated civilization of the day. So they've already seen God deliver them from the most intimidating opponent that is possible. Whoever is occupying the promised land, by comparison, is a weaker challenge. But they're eating manna every day. They're not planting crops. They've got a tabernacle now. They've got a place to worship. They've got a little structure around. Life is better than it's ever been. They're not going to the brick pits. They're not tasting the lash of the whip from their Egyptian slave masters. And if we cross the river, there's big people over there. Very next chapter, you have it, Numbers 14, verse 1. That night, all the people of the community raised their voices and they wept aloud. And all the Israelites grumbled against Moses and Aaron, and the whole assembly said to them, if only we had died in Egypt or in this desert. Why is the Lord bringing us to this land only to let us fall by the sword? You know what they're saying? Enough's enough. We've been through enough. We've done enough. We faced enough. We're being fed. It's maybe not the best menu, but we get quail now. We didn't used to get quail. Now we get quail. The man is there. It's only there 6 days a week, but it holds over for 7. So one day a week we eat leftovers, but it's just one day. There's been plenty of water. Our clothes aren't wearing out. There's no sick people amongst us. Life's pretty good. If we go over there, who knows? God was really unhappy with that group of people. I get it. I promise I get it. You know, a few years ago, I would have called it a Kodak moment. Some of you are old enough to remember when we actually used to take pictures with film. And we took them sparingly because it was expensive. I know that seems weird, but just play along with me. Humor me for a half a moment. And so if you had a really special moment, something was just right, you know, you would typically organize it and arrange it. Every family has one of those people. Oh, we need a picture. And the rest of you are rolling your eyes, going, ah. And they capture that moment on film. We don't use film anymore. Now we do it digitally, but we all understand this. It's that screenshot. You see something, you don't want to forget it, so you screenshot it, or so you can share it, or save it, or you won't forget it, or it's the perfect selfie. Lord, do we take those? Everywhere. If you have a good meal, if you check into a nice hotel, if you meet somebody that's fatter than you are, look at me, I'm skinny, I'm going to take a picture right here, because there's only 2 of those people. It makes me feel better about myself. But you know, the idea, you know, you're at the beach and it's that perfect shot, and so you want to freeze that moment in time. You want to take that great moment or that memorable moment in your life and you want to lock it down. You want to hold it so you can look back at it and go, oh, that was amazing. Because there's some comfort in that. If you can freeze time, somehow it seems to diminish the reality that you're going to have to face the uncertainty of tomorrow. In reality, the sun's going down tomorrow. How about we just get another sunset view tomorrow afternoon? Well, I might not be here. No, but you'll be there. And there we'll have a sunset. No, I need to freeze this moment. I'm not opposed to the picture, but the whole concept is a fallacy. Because that innate awareness that the future is uncertain, and maybe we better capture the moment because it may not be this good again, is not running to win the prize. I've got no objection to the photograph or to the memory, but I have an objection to being so focused on what has been that we're not invested in what is becoming. Amen. God said to that generation of people, you can just die where you are. There'll be no land of milk and honey for you. The bargain I struck with you is I took you out of Egypt to bring you into a land that flows with milk and honey, but I hear you. You don't have to do it. Please understand, God's attitude is not changed. He will not force the glory of His kingdom upon you. He won't force transformation upon you. He won't force obedience upon you. He will put before you His invitations. He'll put the prompting of His Spirit within you. He'll even provide angelic support to help you. But you and I have to choose. We have to choose the dynamic faith. We have to choose to finish well. We have to choose not to conform to the prevailing standards of this present age. We have to decide we won't freeze time. This is a very human response. It's a very typical response among people of faith. I can give you biblical examples from our heroes. Mark chapter 9. Jesus took Peter, James, and John with Him. They're on the inner circle. We're going to leave the other 9. You 3 come with me. Wow. And He led them up on a high mountain where they were all alone, and He was transfigured before them. His clothes became dazzling white, whiter than anyone in the world could bleach them, and there appeared before them Elijah and Moses who were talking with Jesus. And Peter said to Jesus, Rabbi, it's good for us to be here. It's really good that we're here for this. Let's put up 3 shelters, one for you and one for Moses and one for Elijah. He didn't know what to say. They were so frightened. Mark slipped that in. It's in parentheses. So it's kind of his addition after the fact. And Peter had to tell him, Mark wasn't there. I mean, Peter, James, or John had to tell the story. They were the only ones that were there. It's terrifying, frightening. But it was a moment. Peter said, well, we could build a shelter. I've always wondered how they knew it was Moses and Elijah. They've been dead a long time. And their pictures had been deleted from the cloud, so they hadn't seen them. You suppose they had big laminated name tags? Mo. I don't know. Did they do introductions? Hi, I'm Moses. Oh, very nice to meet you, sir. Heard much about you. I don't know. But this idea, we need a screenshot of this. We won't remember where we left the car. Luke chapter 4, it's a very different setting, but it's a similar idea. When the sun was setting, the people brought to Jesus all who had various kinds of sickness, and laying his hands on each one, he healed them. Beyond that, demons came out of many people shouting, "You're the Son of God." But he rebuked them and wouldn't allow them to speak because they knew he was the Messiah. And at daybreak, Jesus went out to a solitary place, and the people came looking for him. And when they came to where he was, they tried to keep him from leaving. "Oh, we don't want you to go. Please don't go." Now, they didn't say this everywhere he went. When he ministered to the man who was demonized that lived amongst the tombs and he was delivered and a legion of spirits left, they begged him to leave there. But in this particular community, they had a little more situational awareness. They understood what Jesus' presence represented: no sickness, no demonic torment, peace and hope. And they said, "Oh, please don't leave. We've found the formula. We have somebody in our midst that will solve all. Don't leave, please, right here, stay right here." And watch what Jesus said to them. He said, "No, I must preach the good news of the kingdom to the other towns also, because that's why I was sent." And he kept on preaching in the synagogues of Judea. He'd shown them a pathway. He'd shown them how to run the race. He'd shown them the authority of his kingdom. He'd shown them a power beyond just studying Torah and sitting in synagogue. And he said, you can maintain the momentum. Now you run your race, but I'm not going to stay. We can't freeze this moment in time. Thank you for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, subscribe to the channel. You know the drill. Hit the bell for notifications. If you want to, leave a comment.